just like, oh, yeah. I'm just like, this looks like a pretty good shop, I think. So
Oh,
there's still the misconception that up shopping is gross. And like sometimes you do come across pretty gross things. But that's everywhere. I've seen gross things in, big box stores, So I think, yeah, the misconception that it's still pretty gross is still rings true, I think, for me, for many people that I've met. I also think that
so
it's
what?
just gonna sound, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off, but I'm gonna want to ask a question regarding it. So why you think, I mean, if somebody says, ew, what's that about to the secondhand clothing? Did you ever get a chance to ask them why they think like that? Or what's your assessment? What do you think? Why they think like that? Or the people?
I think I think they either have a conception that maybe was passed down to them from somewhere, like, maybe their parents thought that secondhand shopping was gross or only for poor people, or maybe they get, there's the germ factor as well, like, someone has been in that clothing before, but like, honestly, like, when I worked in retail, so many people would touch the clothing that you were about to try on. It wasn't fresh on you. Before we even put it on the rail, hundreds of hands have touched your clothing. So I
Even though
don't
now
really.
we have like changing rooms, so people are actually trying the clothes that we're buying.
Yeah, and like even before it gets to the change room, before we put it on the rail, people have made the clothing. So, and it's come shipped from across many oceans, and the textiles came from somewhere. So it's not like it's entirely made by machines. So I don't know. I think it's just a misconception that has been passed down by some people, and then also secondhand clothing. Someone could have died in it, so I think people get a bit caught up on that.
Uh,
I don't care, but
okay,
I don't know.
what's the other thing you were telling me? I'm so sorry. I just
Oh gosh, what was I saying? Oh yes, I think this is a kind of a weird thing to say, but some people think that secondhand clothing is extremely sustainable, but sometimes it's just not. And I think what I mean in that way is that there's still overconsumption with secondhand clothing. Secondhand clothing doesn't always go to be recycled or be reused. Like, we have the issue of clothing and textiles being dumped overseas. And also, I just think like some people think that like when they take their clothing to the op shop, that magical fairies will fix all the stains and the rips and the missing buttons. Op shops are shops. They have to make a profit, otherwise they wouldn't exist. So when you take your bag of clothing to the op shop and there's a few things in there that are ripped or torn, that goes straight in the bin. It doesn't magically get fixed. In most op shops, the bigger ones, there might be like, some really cool nanas fixing the other ones in the smaller op shops. But like I think again, as we were talking before, some people don't do the research and they don't want to look further than beyond the curtain. So I do think with secondhand shopping, some people think it's the most sustainable solution. That's why they just dump their clothing at the op shop. But no one's going to fix the missing button, and no one has time to dye the item a different color. And if it's the zip, like I've seen it for myself. Like I've picked up a piece when I was volunteering at Salvation Army. I picked up a piece of clothing that I was about to put online and it had a big hole in it. And she's like, oh, yep, that's fine. She took it off the hanger and put it in the bin. She doesn't have time to fix it. It's a shop. She's busy. She's the manager. There'd be a pile of clothing hanging in the corner waiting for someone to fix it. But they have to, pay someone to fix it. And then it eats into all the other profits because it's a shop. And it's the same with Mutual Muse. It's the same with Goodbyes. It's the same with any shop. A smaller shop has time to care and look after it. But bigger shops just don't sometimes, and that's the reality of it. So I think overconsumption, thinking that the magical fairy is going to fix everything behind the scenes, and of course, op shops being gross and full of dead people clothes. I feel just a few of the things with secondhand shopping that I find people have misconceptions about or believe. Yeah.
that's actually the true insight that you just gave me. Actually have a questions here that I'll probably gonna be asking you. So what it actually behind the scenes, and you just told me like about the big shops. I'm sure. Hope actually not everyone do that, but we can at least try the best we could do to make sure that we're not throwing, or at least we can send it to the recycling department instead of throwing it to the garbage. I would say
Mm.
not just the
I
clothing, but
try and save. I
and
try and save things from work to take to the recycling, but like it does cost to recycle clothing. Like, it's usually not free. So, it's coming out of someone's pocket. And if it's a small business, sometimes it's just too expensive. Like that's like the textile recycling company has to charge so they can keep going. But then the shop can't, like the shop needs to exist so people can bring their secondhand clothing in. It's like a giant vicious cycle. Someone has to be paid. We can't do everything for free in this economy anyway. Yeah.
exactly. So you also talk about minimalism as a mindset. Also, the people who thinks like this way. What do you think? Can you explain what it looks like, or how can they get better, or how they should see the things as it's supposed to be if they're doing the job?
Yeah. I think with minimalism, it is tricky because again, social media, and I don't mean social media is the bad thing and everything. It's good, like it's connected me to you, so it's really good. But you know, it showcases like if you're on TikTok, have you seen those TikTok videos where like people just have like cupboards full of like bath and body lotions or whatever, or they have like a wall full of razors. Like no one needs a wall full of razors unless maybe you're like a werewolf or something. I don't know. Like it's overconsumption is ginormous. It's everything that happens, and it's so easy to jump out and buy absolutely anything, especially with Amazon nowadays. Like you can just get anything ASAP. So I think minimalism is really taking a step back and thinking, okay, do I actually need this? Do I actually need that? And also, I think, again, it ties back to sustainability because you're actually like, do I actually know where that comes from? And what will I do with it when I'm finished with it? Like, if I want to buy some skincare, like, where'd the skincare come from? Who made the skincare? Do I actually need the skincare? Am I running low on moisturizer? Okay, when I finish the moisturizer, where do I put the bottle? Like, is it easy recycling, curve recycling? Like, that's such a long thought process for moisturizer,
It
but it
is.
helps me.
Actually not. I mean, if you sit down and think about it, I don't think it's gonna be taking more than 5, 10 minutes of you to think the whole process, how you're gonna use it, how you're gonna recycle it and all that. But now people, as you also mentioned, social media, and I believe and that's a big part of it. Everything is so fast, and we actually do not care to think about these things. I mean, we think as a waste of time, or even we do not need a thing. Even if the beauty care, they just going into the garbage. So we have to be mindful. We have to be slow, because even though anything that is which is fast is not good for us, like fast food, fast fashion, I also call the social media as a fast fashion platforms, all of them. So even though everything and now the shorts, the reels, the TikToks, and I mean it's just ruining our mental health. And of course, we're not doing anything. So definitely our physical health too. So I think we have to be more conscious. It's not just
Yeah.
about doing the recycling. It's about healing yourself too and your soul, because we,
Yeah.
as a human, we have to think about the things using our own mind cells,
Yes.
because it's also about the mental health. That's the main thing, as
Yes.
for inside and outside, both.
Yeah,
So,
I think like when you consume too much, for me, it just like if I have a whole, I don't know, cupboard full of moisturizing creams, like one, they're going to expire pretty soon. They don't last forever. And also like it really hangs on my head and plays in my mind, like, I have so much stuff and I just want to get rid of it all. Like I just want to throw it all out, but I don't want to do that because, that's not great. But like when you like mindlessly buy things and you're just stuffing it in your cupboard, like whatever it is, it could be anything. I don't know whether it's just a me thing or not, but it just like hangs over my head. Like it makes me feel like my house is slowly building full of stuff. And then one day it's just going to explode. Like, so if I only allow the things that I want and I need and I love in my house, then it's a place of calm. I can be slow here and take my time because my house is not, filled to the brim with like, stuff on the ground and like all that sort of thing. So that's how it feels like for me when there's too much stuff.
of course, that makes truly sense. So, one tip that you want to give to me that I should use to be more sustainable and be more ethical, or have a slow wardrobe in my that I could use for my daily use every day.
I think it's gonna be two tips to be honest. So I think I think the first one is step back. Like, if you see something in the wherever, take a step back. Like, okay, what is the item? Do I actually really need it? Like, if you've got six white t-shirts, do you need a seventh white t-shirt? If you always wear white t-shirts, then maybe that's okay. Go for it. And then the other tip is to sort of research where it came from.